Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Fluctus channel. Wars are not won through military might alone. In fact, in many cases, the ability to move assets like troops and vehicles from place to place can make all the difference in the outcome of a battle. After World War II, the United States established the Military Sealift Command, an organization within the Department of Defense whose primary mission is to provide strategic sea lift and ocean transport for both armed forces and humanitarian aid efforts. The MSC operates a large fleet of government-owned and private ships, including tankers, cargo ships, and specialized vessels like hospital ships, which it can use to provide logistical support for military equipment, supplies, and personnel worldwide. Transport vessels come in many different forms. In some cases, they are nearly indistinguishable from a battleship. In others, they are more akin to a civilian or corporate vessel. The amphibious transport docks, specifically the San Antonio class, are among the newest ships in the U.S. fleet. At nearly 700 feet long and with a displacement of 25,000 tons, these massive vessels can carry a variety of landing craft, helicopters, and up to 800 total troops. They are designed so that they can unload vehicles and equipment in multiple ways to save time and increase efficiency. Other MSC ships are less specific in their duties and merely function as general-purpose heavy lifting ships. Many of these vessels boast roll-on, roll-off capabilities. This means they are equipped with ramps, stern gates, and internal decks that allow vehicles and cargo to be driven directly on and off the ship. This feature enables quick and efficient loading and unloading without cranes or other heavy lifting equipment. Though ro-ro ships, as they're often called, drastically increase the speed of the unloading process, some vehicles require a lot of special consideration. As with any logistics operation, the goal is to carry as much as possible at any given time. Therefore, the logistics personnel that support these missions must load large military vehicles into the ship in a way that best utilizes the space. This makes unloading the ships more akin to taking apart a giant puzzle than simply lowering the ramp and letting the trucks and Humvees drive away. In many cases, it will take hours and the combined effort of dozens of personnel to complete a roll-off. One of the things that has helped this process in recent years is what's known as the improved Navy lighterage system. Essentially a floating pier, the INLS is a causeway system made of interchangeable modules that can be used to transport equipment from ship to shore. This is particularly useful when a ship cannot land safely, such as in shallow waters or beaches. In some cases, the U.S. military will actually charter private ships in order to move troops, vehicles, and equipment from place to place. This generally occurs during peacetime or humanitarian operations. Ro-Ro ships are among the most popular charters, as they have adequate space for all the various trucks and transport vehicles. Ro-Ro vessels are extremely common in Europe, for instance, where they are used to shuttle passengers and their cars from destination to destination. By chartering one of these ships, the U.S. military can ensure their equipment gets where it needs to go quickly, safely, and cost-effectively. Of course, crossing even friendly borders by boat can be a difficult situation at times. The United States Coast Guard, as well as dozens of other Coast Guard organizations around the world, are highly protective of their waterways. They will frequently board large transport ships in order to ensure everything on board is as listed in the passenger and cargo manifest. A Ro-Ro ship can measure the same length as some of the biggest military vessels out there, so they represent an excellent opportunity to smuggle equipment behind enemy lines. That said, the vast majority of Ro-Ro ships are used for commercial purposes, namely car exports. Many of the largest car manufacturers employ vehicle carriers in order to move their stock from one country to another. Ro-Ro ships have built-in ramps that allow vehicles to be driven directly onto and off of the ship. This eliminates the need for cranes or other specialized equipment. As opposed to the large military vehicles seen before, commercial cars can be driven on and off the ship in minutes, significantly reducing turnaround time at ports. The floors of these ships are covered in points, where ship personnel can secure the cars with chains and ties. In cases involving specialty vehicles or private purchases, a car might be shipped via a traditional container vessel. This loading and unloading process can be pretty difficult, as it is only cost-effective if several vehicles can fit inside the cargo container at once. Loaders will make custom ramps out of wood inside the container in order to fit the cars in as tightly as possible. They will then pack the container full of plastic and other protective material to keep the cars stable during the voyage. Even with all of the proper precautions, the sea is an unpredictable place. Moreover, Human error can sometimes result in ships incurring massive amounts of damage or even crashing altogether. When this happens, a salvage operation must be launched to recover as much cargo and equipment as possible. And while this is typically the main priority, most salvage operations also work to minimize the impact the shipwreck might have on the environment. One of the most famous modern shipwrecks is that of the MV Golden Ray. In fact, this particular wreck directly resulted in the largest salvage operation in U.S. history. The Golden Ray capsized near Brunswick, Georgia back in 2019. The ship was employed as a car carrier by Hyundai Glovis, and at the time had roughly 4,200 vehicles on board. Unfortunately, the 650-foot-long vessel encountered difficulty after leaving port. Soon, it began to heave heavily to one side before capsizing entirely. Though the Coast Guard rescued all of the crew, the incident still left tens of thousands of tons of metal and material sitting in the port of Brunswick. Given the size of the ship and the number of cars on board, the logistics of the salvage operation were highly complex. This was worsened due to concerns over potential fuel leaks from the vessel and the thousands of cars on board. Therefore, pollution control measures such as containment booms were used to help prevent leakage. Also, sunken cargo containers were put into place in order to construct a wall around the salvage project. The process involved cutting the ship into sections using chainsaws and diamond wire. Due to the ship's size, this required dozens of vessels, as well as cranes and other specialized equipment. The operation was carried out in stages, with each removed section of the ship being lifted onto barges and transported for recycling. In fact, the operation was so complex that it was not fully completed until September of 2021. Perhaps the biggest challenge of the MV Golden Ray salvage operation was removing the cars. In order to reduce the weight of the vessel's various sections, the cars had to be individually removed and placed on a barge. With nearly 5,000 vehicles on board, this was a time-consuming and detailed process involving cranes working long hours. Fortunately, as with the rest of the ship, most of these cars could be recycled. That's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any of our new content. See you next time.